Hello students, myself Amrita Dhar, Assistant Professor of Electrical Engineering Department of Greater Kolkata College of Engineering and Management, JIS Group. I will teach you Power System 1. In this video, I will discuss about cables. Now, this topic is included in Module 4 of the subject Power System 1. In this video, I will discuss about various types of cable and cable components. So let's start. This underground cable. An underground cable essentially consists of one or more conductors covered with suitable insulation and surrounded by a protecting cover. Now, electric power can be transmitted or distributed either by overhead system or by underground cables. The underground cables have several advantages over overhead line, such as less liable to damage through storms or lightning, low maintenance cost, less chances of faults, smaller voltage drop, and better appearance. Now, however, their major drawback is that they have greater installation cost and introduce insulation problems at high voltages compared with the equivalent overhead system. For this reason, underground cables are employed where it is impracticable to use overhead lines. Now, such location may be thickly populated areas where municipal authorities prohibit overhead lines for reasons of safety, or around plants or substation, or where maintenance conditions do not permit the use of overhead construction. Now next, what are the properties of cables? Although several types of cables are available, the type of cable to be used will depend upon the working voltage and service requirements. Now, in general, our cable must fulfill these requirements. First, the conductor used in cable should be tinned stranded copper or aluminium of high conductivity. Now, why stranded conductor is used? Because stranding is done so that the conductor may become flexible and carry more current. Next, the conductor size should be such that the cable carries the desired load current without overheating and cause voltage drop within permissible limits. The cable must have proper thickness of insulation in order to have a high degree of safety and reliability at the voltage for which it is designed. Next, the cable must be provided with suitable mechanical protection so that it may withstand the rough use in laying it. And the last one, the materials used in manufacture of cables should be such that there is a complete chemical and physical stability throughout. Now, underground cable has 6 layers. First is core or conductor, next insulation, next metal sheath, next bedding, next followed by armoring and serving. Now, I will discuss one by one.
Serving. In order to protect armoring from atmospheric conditions, a layer of fibrous material similar to bedding is provided over the armoring. Next one is armoring. Over the bedding, armoring is provided, which consists of 1 or 2 layers of galvanized steel wire or steel tape. Its purpose is to protect the cable from mechanical injury while laying it and during the course of handling. Next one is bedding. Over the metallic sheath is applied a layer of bedding which consists of a fibrous material like jute or Hessian tape. The purpose of bedding is to protect the metallic sheath against corrosion and from mechanical injury due to armoring. Next one is lead sheath. In order to protect the cable from moisture, gases or other damaging liquids in the soil and atmosphere, a metal sheath of lead or aluminium is provided over the insulation. Insulation. Each core or conductor is provided with a suitable thickness of insulation, the thickness of layer depending upon the voltage to withstand by the cable. Generally, impregnated paper, varnished cambric or rubber mineral compounds are used for insulation purpose. Conductor. A cable may have one or more than one core depending upon the type of service for which it is intended.
Next is properties of insulating materials. Now, the satisfactory operation of a cable depends to a great extent upon the characteristics of insulation used. Therefore, the proper choice of insulating material for cables is of considerable importance. Now, in general, the insulating materials used in cables should have these properties: high insulation resistance to avoid leakage current, high dielectric strength to avoid electrical breakdown of the cable, high mechanical strength to withstand the mechanical handling of cables, non-hygroscopic, that is, it should not absorb moisture from air or soil. Now, the moisture tends to decrease the insulation resistance. In case of insulating material in a hygroscopic, it must be enclosed in a waterproof covering like lead sheet. Next one, non-inflammable. Next one, low cost so as to make the underground system a viable proposition. And the last one, unaffected by acids and alkalis to avoid any chemical action. Now, no insulating material possess all of these properties. Therefore, the type of insulating material to be used depends upon the purpose for which the cable is required and the quality of insulation to be aimed at. Different types of insulating material. The principal insulating materials used in cables are rubber, vulcanized India rubber, impregnated paper, varnished cambric, and polyvinyl chloride. I will discuss one by one. First is rubber. Now, rubber may obtain from milky sap of tropical trees or it may be produced from oil products. It has relative permittivity varying between 2 and 3 and dielectric strength is about 30 kV per millimeter and resistivity of insulation is 10 to the power 17 ohm centimeter. Now, although pure rubber has reasonably high insulating properties, it suffers from some major drawbacks like readily absorb moisture, maximum safe temperature is low, soft and liable to damage due to rough handling and edges when exposed to light. So, therefore, pure rubber cannot be used as insulating material. Next one is vulcanized India rubber. Now, it is prepared by mixing pure rubber with mineral matter such as zinc oxide, red lead, etc. and 3 to 5% of sulfur. The compound so formed is rolled into thin sheets and cut into strips. The rubber compound is then applied to the conductor and is heated to a temperature of about 150 degrees centigrade. Now, the whole process is vulcanization and the product is obtained known as vulcanized India rubber. Now, this has greater mechanical state, durability, wear resistance property than pure rubber. Its main drawback is that sulfur reacts very quickly with copper and for these reasons cable using vulcanized India rubber in insulation have tint copper conductor. The vulcanized India rubber insulation is generally used for low and moderate voltage cable. Next one is the impregnated paper. Now, it consists of chemically pulped paper made from wood chipping and impregnated with some compounds such as paraffinic or naphthenic material. Now, this type of insulation has almost superseded the rubber insulation. It is because it has the advantages of low cost, low capacitance, high dielectric strength, and high insulation resistance. The only disadvantage is that paper is hygroscopic, and even if it is impregnated with suitable compound, it absorbs moisture and thus lowers the insulation resistance of the cable. Now, for this reason, the paper insulated cables are always provided with some protective covering and never left unsealed. Next one is varnished cambric. It is a cotton cloth impregnated and coated with varnish. This type of insulation is known as empire tape. The cambric is slapped on the conductor in form of a tape, and its surfaces are coated with petroleum jelly compound to allow for sliding of one turn over the another as the cable is bent. Now, as the varnish cambric is hygroscopic, therefore such cables are always provided with metallic sheath. Its dielectric strength is 4 kV per mm and permittivity is between 2.5 to 3.8. Last one is the PVC or polyvinyl chloride. Now, this insulating material is a synthetic compound. It is obtained from the polymerization of acetylene, and it is in the form of white powder. Now, for obtaining this material as a cable insulation, it is compounded with certain materials known as plasticizers, which are liquids with high boiling point. Now, the plasticizer forms a gel and renders the material plastic over the desired range of temperature. Now, PVC has a high insulation resistance, good dielectric strength, mechanical toughness over a wide range of temperature. It is inert to oxygen and almost inert to many alkalis and acids. Therefore, this type of insulation is preferred over vulcanized India rubber in extreme environment conditions such as in the cement factory or chemical factory. Now, as the mechanical properties of PVC are not so good as those of rubber, therefore PVC insulated cables are generally used for low and medium domestic light and power installations. Next one is the classification of cable. Now, cable can be classified in three categories. First, according to type of insulating material, then according to voltage, and last one according to number of core. According to type of insulating material, it is classified into PVC, PILC, FRLS or XLPE cables. According to voltage, it is classified into low tension cables, high tension cables, super tension cables, extra high tension cables and extra super voltage cables. The voltage rating for a low tension cable is up to 1000 volt. For high tension cable it is up to 11,000 volt. For super tension cable, voltage range is between 22 to 33 kV. For extra high tension cables, it ranges from 33 to 66 kV. And for extra super voltage, it is beyond 132 kV. Now, according to number of core, it is classified as 1 core cable, 2 core cable, 3 core cable and 4 core cable. The number of core depends upon the type of service for which it is intended. And suppose for a 3-phase service, either 3 single core cables or 3 core cable can be used depending upon the operating voltage and load demand. Now, cables for 3-phase service. Now, for 3-phase service, generally belted cables, screen cables and pressure cables are used. Now, I discuss one by one. First one is belted cables. These cables are used for voltage up to 11 kV, but in extraordinary cases, their use may be up to 22 kV. The cores are insulated from each other by layers of impregnated paper, and another layer of impregnated paper tape called paper belt is wound round the grouped insulated cores. The gap between insulated cores is filled with fibrous insulating material like jute, So as to give circular cross section to the cable, the cores are generally stranded and may be non-circular shape to make better use of the available space. The belt is covered with lead sheet to protect the cable against ingress of moisture and mechanical injury. The lead sheet is covered with one or more layers of the armoring with the outer.
Serving.
The type construction is suitable only for low or medium voltage, as the electrostatic stresses developed in the cable for these voltages are more or less radial, that is across the insulation. However, for high voltage beyond 22 kV, the tangential stresses also become important. Now these stresses act along the layers of paper insulation, and as the insulation resistance of paper is quite small along the layers, therefore the tangential stresses set up the leakage current along the layers of the paper insulation. Now the leakage current causes local heating, resulting in the risk of breakdown of the insulation at any moment. Now in order to overcome these difficulties, screen cables are used where leakage currents are conducted to earth through the metallic screen. Now these cables are meant for use up to 33 kV, but in particular cases their use may be extended to 66 kV. There are two types of screened cables, H-type cables and SL-type cables. Next one is the H-type cables. Each core is insulated by layer of impregnated paper. The insulation on each core is covered with a metallic screen, which usually consists of a perforated aluminum foil. The cores are laid in such a way that metallic screens make contact with one another. In this picture you can see that additional belt, a conducting belt, is wrapped around the three cores. The cable has no insulating belt, but it has lead sheet, bedding, armoring and serving as usual. Now it is easy to see that each core screen is in electrical contact with the conducting belt and the lead sheet. As all four screens and the lead sheet are at earth potential, therefore the electric stresses are purely radial and consequently dielectric losses are reduced. Now the two advantages are claimed for H-type cable. First is perforation in the metallic screen assist in the complete impregnation of the cable with the compound, and thus the possibility of air pockets or voids in the dielectric is eliminated. And secondly, the metallic screen increase the heat dissipation power of the cable. Next one is the SL type cable. Now it is basically H-type cable, but the screen round each of the core insulation is covered by its own lead sheet. There is no overall lead sheet, but only armoring and serving is provided. The SL type cable has two main advantages over the H type cable. First, separate sheets minimize the possibility of core-to-core breakdown, and second, bending of cables become easy due to elimination of overall lead sheet. However, the disadvantages in that three lead sheet of SL cable are much thinner than the single sheet of H cable. Now, what are the limitation of these solid type of cables? All the cable I discussed as far are solid type of cables, because solid insulation is used and no gas or oil circulates in the cable sheath. So what are the limitations of this type of cable? Now, as a solid cable carries the load, its conductor temperature increases and the cable compound expands. This action stretches the lead sheath, which may be damaged. When the load on the cable decreases, the conductor cools and a partial vacuum is formed within the cable sheath. Now, if the pinholes are present in the lead sheath, moisture air may be drawn into the cable. And last one, in practice, voids are always present in the insulation of a cable. Modern techniques of manufacturing have resulted in void-free cables. Pressure cables. Now there are two types of pressure cable, oil-filled cable and gas pressure cable. When the operating voltages are greater than 66 kV, pressure cables are used. In such cables, voids are eliminated by increasing the pressure of the compound, and for this reason they are called pressure cables. Now there are two types of pressure cable, oil filled cable and gas pressure cable. Oil filled cables. In such type of cables, channels or ducts are provided in the cable for oil circulation. The oil under pressure is kept constantly supplied to the channel by means of external receivers placed at suitable distance along the route of the cable. Now, oil under pressure compresses the layers of paper insulation and is forced into any voids that may have formed between the layers. Due to elimination of voids, oil-filled cables can be used for higher voltage. From 66 kV to 230 kV, we can use oil-filled cables. Now, in this picture, you can see that oil channel is formed at the center by stranding the conductor wire around a hollow cylindrical steel spiral tape. The oil under pressure is supplied to the channel by means of external reservoirs. As the channel is made of spiral steel tape, it allows the oil to percolate between copper strands and to the wrapped insulation. The oil pressure compresses the layers of paper insulation and prevents the possibility of void formation. In this figure, the constructional details of a single core sheet channel oil filled cable is shown. In this type of cable, conductor is solid, similar to that of solid cable, and is paper insulated. But oil ducts are provided in the metallic sheath, just as shown in this figure. Okay. And in this figure, a 3-core oil filled cable is shown. The oil ducts are located in the filler space. Oil ducts are located in the filler space. Now, the oil filled cable have three principal advantages. First, formation of voids and ionization are avoided. Secondly, allowable temperature range and dielectric strength are increased. And thirdly, if there is a leakage, the defect in any lead sheet is at once indicated and possibility of earthfalls is decreased. But there is a disadvantage of these oil filled cables, that it has high initial cost and complicated system of laying. Next one is gas pressure cable. The voltage required to set up ionization inside a voice increases as the pressure is increased. So therefore, if ordinary cable is subjected to a sufficiently high pressure, the ionization can be altogether eliminated. At the same time, the increased pressure produces radial compression, which tends to close any voids. Now, this is the underlying principle of the gas cable. The construction of the cable is similar to that of an ordinary solid type cable, except that it is a triangular shape and thickness of lead sheath is 75% of solid cable. The triangular section reduces the weight and gives low thermal resistance. But the main reason for triangular shape is that the lead sheath acts as a pressure membrane. The sheath is protected by a thin metal tape. The cable is laid in a gas-tight steel pipe. The pipe is filled with dry nitrogen gas at 12 to 15 atmospheres. The gas pressure produces radial compression and closes the voids that may have formed between the layers of paper insulation. Now, such cables can carry more load current and operate at high voltages than a normal cable. Moreover, the maintenance cost is small and the nitrogen gas helps in quenching any flame. And the disadvantage is it has very high overall cost. Next is the laying of underground cable. Now there are three methods of cable laying: direct laying, drawing system and solid system. Now first one is direct laying. This method of underground cable is simple and cheap and is much favored in modern practice. In this method, a trench about 1.5 meters deep and 45 centimeter weight is dug. The trench is covered with a fine layer of sand and the cable is laid on the sand bed. The sand prevents the entry of moisture from the ground and thus protects the cable from decay. After the cable has been laid in the trench, it is covered with another sand of about 10 centimeter thickness. Then the trench is covered with bricks and another materials in order to protect the cable from mechanical injury. Now, when more than one cable is to be laid in same trench, a horizontal or vertical interaxial spacing of at least 30 semi is provided in order to reduce the effect of mutual heating and also to ensure that a fault occurring on the cable does not damage the adjacent cables. Now, there are some advantages of this and disadvantages of this type of laying. First, the advantages are it is simple and cheap, and it gives best condition for dissipating the heat generated in the cable. It is clean and safe method as the cable is invisible and free from external disturbances. And what are the disadvantages? The extension of load is possible only by a completely new excavation which may occur cost as much as the original work. Second disadvantage, the alternation in the cable network cannot be easily made. The maintenance cost is high, localization of fault is difficult. It cannot be used in the congested areas where excavation is expensive and inconvenient. Next one is the drawing system. So this method of laying cables is used in open areas where excavation can be done conveniently and at low cost. Next is the drawing system. In this method, conduit or duct of glazed stone or cast iron or concrete are laid in the ground with manholes at suitable positions along the cable route. The cables are then pulled into position from manholes. 3 of the ducts carry the transmission cable and 4 ducts carry the relay protection connection pilot wires. Now, what are the advantages and disadvantages? The first advantage is repairs, alteration or addition to the cable network can be made without opening the ground. Next advantage, as the cables are not armored, therefore joints become simpler and maintenance cost is reduced. And third one is the very less chances of fault occurrence due to strong mechanical protection provided by the system. The disadvantages are it has high initial cost and the carrying capacity of the cable is reduced due to close grouping of cables and unpreferable condition for dissipation of the heat. Next method of laying is solid system laying. In this method of laying, the cable is laid in the open pipes or troughs dug out in earth along the cable route. The troughing is of cast iron, stoneware, asphalt or treated wood. Now after the cable is laid in the position, the troughing is filled with the bituminous or asphalt compound and covered over. Cables laid in this manner are usually plain lead covered because troughing affords good mechanical protection. What are the disadvantages of this cable? It is more expensive than the direct laid system. It requires skilled labor and favorable weather condition. Due to poor heat dissipation facilities, the current carrying capacity of the cable is reduced. For these disadvantages, nowadays this type of laying is rarely used. That's all from today's class. If you have any problem, please contact with me. My contact details is given on the first slide. Thank you.